that's okay. Scroll past the filter, skip the noise, find your calm and stay poised. You're not late, you're right on cue. Every fit skill looks good on you. So light it up, get glow through the doubt. Even discount dreams can still work out. We rise, rewind, and do it again. Off-brand hearts still find their zen. Make it worth the wilderness. Take your time. Even chaos can fall in line. Make it worth your wilderness. Make it yours. We're all just healing in synth-wave chords.
Sometimes the biggest disagreements in relationships don't start with what we say, rather they start with how our brains process information. Welcome back to Bargain Brand Wellness. Tonight, we're diving into the idea of how men and women process information differently. Like spaghetti, women tend to make connections to everything in their life, while like waffles, men have each element of their lives neatly in its own little box. We're talking about how this causes so many misunderstandings and what happens when one person wants to talk through the feelings while the other just wants to solve the problem. So grab your partner, close your mouth, and open your ears, because there's a reason God gave you 2 ears, but only 1 mouth. Welcome to Wellness. Welcome back, my wellness warriors, my self-care connoisseurs, my off-brand VIPs. We've got another fun show for you tonight. Super excited to have you back. Super excited to jump into the weekend. Looks like it's going to be a nice warm weekend. Spring might almost be here. Super excited, super ready for that. Can't wait. I'm ready for the spring. Bargain Brand Wellness is growing. We're going to have a great spring, great summer, great 2026, because 2026 is the year of no excuses. All right. Bargain Brand Wellness is officially partnered with Dude Wipes. Make sure you get your Dude Wipes if you want to stay fresh and clean, especially before you do the doo-doo. Get yourself some Dude Wipes. They're actually pretty nice and flushable. If you're looking to support the channel, you can find the links in the description. You can find us here on YouTube at Bargain Brand Wellness, or you can also find us live on TikTok at Off Brand Tim. We typically go live 3 days a week, depending on my schedule. This week's stream schedule is tonight's episode only. We've had a busy week, but we've got a fun show for you tonight. I saw this analogy talking about the idea of spaghetti and waffles, and I was like, that's catchy, and it makes sense when you really think about it. So we're really gonna dive into it today. But yeah, missed you this week. Yeah, I was busy finishing up my last stuff for school this week, and yeah. So, but we are here today. We're here today and ready and rearing to go. Super excited. If you're looking to get yourself some Bargain Brand Wellness merch, we have our flagship Make It Worth Your Wellness t-shirt available on sale. Because we have only streamed once this week, we won't be doing the drawing for our next giveaway tonight. We will do it on our next episode, which I believe will be live on Monday. We will do our February giveaway on that day. Yeah, so in that case, we'll be giving away a free t-shirts. You also can get a Bargain Brand Wellness hat. It's actually really comfortable. It's a trucker style hat, but it's pretty comfortable. Nice quality t-shirt. And then we do have our limited time edition self-care on clearance t-shirt also available. Will be available throughout the end of this month. And then excuse me, this shirt's gonna be going away. Maybe to make a return at a later date, but we come out with a new t-shirt every 3 months. So I haven't quite worked out the design yet, but I have some ideas of what I wanted to do. I'll give you a little bit of a hint. It might have something to do with a wellness warrior. Might. So we'll see how that turns out. Oh, the World Baseball Classic's on. USA versus Brazil. Wow, definitely have to check out that game. Yeah, I'm ready for baseball too. I'm super excited. But yeah, we're ready and rearing to go. We're gonna get into today's conversation. Super excited for that. We're gonna start off by going over to YouTube. As I mentioned before, a slightly new kind of format today, rather than just having one long video, which we might still do at times. We're just gonna head on over to YouTube, check out some shorts that kind of relevant onto today's topic. It keeps them smaller, usually about 60 seconds, maybe a little bit longer, and then we can kind of discuss it a little bit more on here. So let's head on over here. We'll start off with this very first one, which says why women are like spaghetti and men are like waffles.
Okay, so let's make the transition now to women are like spaghetti and men are like waffles. Yeah. Now, there was a book years ago by that title, Men Are Like Waffles, Women Are Like Spaghetti. And I bought it, and, you know, it was okay. It was okay. Great title, but the premise of it was men tend to compartmentalize like a waffle, right? And women tend to have everything connected. So, and my application of all of that is, gentlemen, you know, now listen to what I'm going to tell you. Men are like waffles, women are like spaghetti. Everything is connected in their lives. Okay, so let's make the transition now.
Okay, so I mean, they didn't really get too deep into it, other than kind of more the introduction. But I definitely like the concept of this. Speaking from a man's perspective, I can't speak on a woman's perspective. But speaking from a man's perspective, I couldn't identify more with the idea of having everything compartmentalized, as he said, right? Everything goes in its own little box, right? And sometimes things might bleed over a little bit, but we don't like that. We like to have everything kind of neat and stacked, orderly, where we need it to be. And I'm not talking about organization, but work is work. Personal life is personal life. Sports is sports. Friends are friends, right? We don't do well when things are mixed. Against us men, I almost want to say it's part of our caveman brain sometimes. We don't do well trying to mix and match all the pieces. Now, a lot of women, not all, tend to create connections between every aspect of their life. Their work, personal, children, wife, right? Mother, daughter, right? They tend to encompass all these roles together and somehow get it entangled together, but that's how they identify. They find the connection, which I think for a woman, to a woman's point, I think it's kind of why maybe they're able to connect with things a little bit stronger, because they're able to create meaning with those things. Yeah, that's kind of the best way that I can kind of explain it. Once again, I'm not trying to mansplain it. It's just kind of since I'm not a woman, me trying to see how I kind of look at that. So yeah, so we'll see if we can find some other videos that maybe dive into this a little bit more. But it's a crapshoot with these little shorts. I'm not going and looking ahead. I'm not trying to find the best videos for us to talk about. I'm trying to keep it real and improv in the moment. So yeah, so we will come back to that here in a little bit. But y'all know what time it is. It's time to spin that wheel of wellness. Let's see what game we're going to get into. It's been a long week. I haven't played any games all week. I don't typically really have the time to play these if we're not streaming, so I might be out of touch a little bit, Mom. I might need some help. All right, well, you can't help me with this first one. We're going to do Rubik's Mania. Head on over to the overhead cam. We did beat our best time. What was that? Last week? We finished at minute and 16, I believe it was. I don't know if we're gonna beat that one. I don't know. You have to almost have the right cube set up, but we're gonna keep track of it. We just like doing these. These are fun. For me, it's almost like a little fidget. But let's see if we can beat. Let's see if we can beat a minute 16. As I mentioned before, I'm going to get myself a speed cube, which might make it a little bit better. But I've also got to take the time to check out some new algorithms. All right, let's do this. I got our white daisy. We got to do our white crow. The biggest thing with this is really just taking your time. If you try to hurry through it, you're going to end up messing up, and you end up taking longer in the long run anyway. It really doesn't matter. But I do really like watching some of these people do speed runs on this, because it's quite an impressive feat, if I do say so myself. Here I got this one good mixed up. We're definitely not going to beat our time today, but we will still solve the Rubik's Cube one year. I had this one really well mixed up. That much I can tell you. We got something matched up somewhere. Oh no, these are up, aren't they? There they are. I'm sitting here looking at it. They were already mixed up. I had to make an extra move because they weren't aligned. Yeah. Messed up right there. Like I said, that's sometimes this thing shifts on me. That I don't like. It kind of gets almost stuck. Man, we didn't even beat 2 minutes today. Maybe I'm out of practice a little bit. No, I honestly did have this one really messed up. 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. But I did have this. I've been playing around with this one. I've been standing here just fidgeting with it. Yeah, 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Not bad. But yeah, that was one of our worst times without messing up, to be honest. Maybe we're, like I said, maybe we're losing stuff. Maybe. So, all right, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, let's get into our first kind of mini segment here. The thing behind the thing. Hold on a second. What the heck is this? And may not be able to record. I won't let me record. Unspecified error occurred while recording. If pause this error. I was messing around with something, but that was in CapCut. It wasn't within OBS. Podcast recordings. All right. Well, I guess I haven't had a chance to look at it, so I guess we're not going to record this, but we'll still do the segment regardless. I guess we just ain't getting any recordings for today's show, which is unfortunate because I think this is a pretty good topic. So, all right. So here's the idea. The thing behind the thing is a segment where we kind of identify the real issue going underneath the surface. And today's surface issue is that simple conversations, when happening between two people, especially a man and a woman, can easily turn into misunderstandings. And a lot of this starts with different processing styles, right? This is where we're talking about spaghetti and waffles here, right? Men tend to think things very literally, right? If you tell me something, a lot of times a man will take things at face value, whereas when said from one woman to another or woman to a man, might be taking things more in context of the situation. And honestly, this runs into an issue that I've talked a lot about on this channel, is the use of absolutes. The always, the never, right? It's never always, and it's never always never, if that makes any sense. The absolutes really kind of throw people off because a lot of guys take those at face value. All right. So that's the idea behind the different processing styles. We don't like to mix two things, right? You know, it's kind of like that old saying, you don't eat where you shit, you don't shit where you eat, right? You ever heard that term? A lot of conversations can either look like venting or trying to solve a problem. And it's not always communicated well between the two what it is that one's trying to get. One person might just be trying to emotionally unload everything that's going on. I'm not looking to solve problems. I just need to be heard. I need to be validated in the moment, which does feel good when someone does that to you. Unfortunately, and yes, this is most men, but it's not only men, we're problem solvers, right? So if you present something to me, it's because you want my input on it. Not that you even necessarily want me to solve the problem, but you're looking for my input on the matter, which may not always look like validation. It might look like, well, have you tried doing this? Or well, what about, because I can tell you, I'm one of those people. Look at it from someone else's perspective. Have you ever thought it from their perspective, which is a very quick way to shut down a conversation. The idea here is that both individuals have the same goal. They want to communicate. It's just they have a different route to get there. The guy's route might be the shortest distance between 2 points, which is a straight line, whereas someone else's might be a little bit more the scenic route, so to speak. And that is the thing behind the thing. That was pretty good. Actually, I would have liked to have recorded that. I mean, I could probably try to pull from the episode later. I don't know what's going on with this computer. We are getting a new computer. Just not quite ready yet. Ethan said that he's got to get it wiped for me. But yeah, we will have a new computer, which will kind of help with some of the technical issues that we're going. Because this computer, I mean, we're going pretty well today, but there's been times where it just shuts off on me midstream and say, "Oh shoot, hold 1 second, please." Gotta love it. All right, if you like what you're seeing here, tell your friends, tell your family member, tell your next door neighbor, right? Tell the person you don't even like, because we're gonna make them a friend of yours. Bargain Brand Wellness is a fun channel. We're over here having a great time. Once again, you can find us live on YouTube at Bargain Brand Wellness, or you can find us live on TikTok at Off Brand Tim. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming up for the show. Like I said, we're working on our next piece of merch. I'm still trying to figure out really what to do with the music that we've made on here, the AI. It doesn't seem like anybody's really listening to it. I mean, I'll listen to it every once in a while. We're not creating a song every show anymore. I wouldn't mind doing a song every week, but I'm still thinking, if no one's really listening to the music, then is that really a pathway we want to focus on? I mean, I can carry a slight tune a little bit, but I don't consider myself a musician, and something like that takes a lot of time, which is it's not even what our channel is about. So I don't know how much we're really going to do with the music. The one thing I do want to continue to do, and I've mentioned this several times, I want more guests on this show. That's my biggest thing that I'm really driving for. And I've thrown it out there trying to get people on. And it's not that I don't think people don't want to come on, is people don't want to come out and reach out and ask, because people are fear of rejection. They're afraid I might tell them no. Even though I've said I'll bring anybody on. So I'm going to start reaching out to people more to get more guests on. I think that's our avenue for growth, is if we can have a guest on at least once a week. I think that's our avenue for growth on this channel. And then maybe once we have a consistent viewer base, maybe then we can step outside of the box and do a few more other fun things that we can experiment with. So, yeah. So that's going to be our big one. But like I said, I'm going to be working on some merch. I'm kind of working on some ideas of like some live events that we could potentially do. It's just a matter of trying to figure out where, when, and how we want to do those. But the warm weather is coming, and we're going to be active. We're going to be active this year, so I'm really looking forward to that. So stay tuned. All right, let's get another spin on the wheel of wellness. See what game we're going to get into next. Yay! All right, looks like we're going to play a little word salad. We haven't played that one in a little while. It's a fun game. We enjoy this one. And sometimes they can be a little frustrating, but it's usually not too bad. Things you do to a baby. Okay. Things you do to a baby. Feed. All right, we feed a baby. Keep it alive. Alive is in here. I mean, care. Cradle. Oh, wait a minute. How is cradle not on here? The letters are literally right there, but I can't. Cradle is C-R-A-D-L-E, right? How can you not get over there? That's crazy. Swaddle? Swaddle. That's a relatively... I just learned that term just a couple years ago. How is cradle not on here? That's blasphemous. Rock. You do rock a baby. Rock a baby on the treetop. What's with a V? Live? Delve. Is it delve? You delve into a baby. I can't get over there and do that. You hoard a baby. No, you can't do that one. Some people might. Some people might hoard their baby. You rode your baby? I don't rode my baby. Do you... There's a 7-letter word and 2 4-letter words. The 7-letter word has to begin with like a D or an A or an E, because these are in alphabetical order here on the bottom. Dude, what do you do to a baby? I was thinking change, but I still can't believe cradle's not on here. That's crazy. Do you lead a baby? You can lead a baby to water, but you can't make it. But you can't make it drink. Veil. Maybe you veil a baby. The heck is this? It's a hard one. The first 3 weren't too bad. Sometimes I take these glasses off. In my head, I feel like I can see better with the glasses off. I mean, it's not as tinted. Dive. Can you dive a baby? I don't think you can dive a baby. Anything starts with an E? That don't sound right. Can you lever a baby? I don't think you can lever a baby either. I feel like one of these starts with an H. But I mean, it'd be H-O-R. H-O-E. That doesn't seem right. Hold. You can hold a baby. There we go. Ooh, I feel like this is something. Relad. Reel. Can you reel a baby like a fishing reel? Oh, we got a big one. I feel like it's RE something. Can you read a baby? How do you read a baby? I was joking. How do you read a baby? And what the heck? You deliver. I knew something had to do with birth. I didn't even see that one. How do you read a baby? Interesting. We got it 4 minutes and 23 seconds. Not our best time, but we'll take it. I've never read a baby before. All right. Let's head back over to YouTube and let's see what we can find over here. Forgot to do the filter thing. I want to make sure I'm able to credit these in the description. Okay. All right, let's see if we can find another one. A lot of these actually have something to do with spaghetti waffles. I don't want actually like that. Let's look at this. Let's see what this woman has to say.
So what's waffle brain? They talk about men have waffle brains, where everything's in a square. And so they can live in one square. They're thinking about just the sports game they're at. They're not thinking about what's happening with the kid and do they have to do laundry later and what's happening at work on Friday. But women are like spaghetti. Everything connects, everything's together. I think waffle brain is a skill that you can develop, even if you are spaghetti brain, men or women, who cares? It's about having that differentiation of where you're at. When you work with family, you don't want to end up having business dinners, right, instead of a family dinner. So having a waffle brain, you can separate those things. This is family time. So
all right, so this is interesting, her take on this. I love how she explained it as like waffle brain. She definitely spoke on it as if it was maybe, not that the spaghetti brain is bad, but almost like the waffle brain was a skill. She even said that they can be developed. I don't think, looking at this, because everybody knows me, I'm a perspective guy. Looking at this from both sides, I can't say that necessarily one way is better than the other. I know what my preference is. I'm a waffle brain, but I understand the concept of spaghetti brain and having things connect and creating meaning there. I think there's times for that when you want to be emotional, right? I think that's a great time for spaghetti brain. I'll tell you, this is what this reminds me of is, I know I talk a lot about DBT in this channel, is wise mind, right? The difference between, you have on one side of wise mind, you have emotional brain. On the other side, you have thinking brain. We all have both, but in the middle is that wise mind, which is a blend of the two. Men probably stick more in thinking brain, where women tend to be more in a emotional brain and use those to kind of base a lot of their decisions. Not all, but a lot of their decisions. But she is absolutely right when she talks about the waffle brain. Like, when I'm thinking about something in this box, I don't like it when other things come into the box. I never really thought that maybe that was just something as a man. I can tell you, as someone with ADHD, it's very difficult, because it's almost, the ADHD part of me almost gets flustered when you try to introduce something else. If I'm in this realm, it bothers me that you're trying to actually step in with something else in here. No, I need you to stay in this box with me. So it is this was a good video. I like this one. I like how she kind of introduced that thing, and she kind of talked about what we had mentioned earlier about how for a lot of women, they're filling 20 different roles at once, and that's just a pressure that society has kind of put on women over the years, that you're just expected to kind of step into this role. So quite interesting too, if you really break it down and think about it. This was a good video. This was good. This is definitely better than the first one. So, awesome. It's so awesome. All right. What do we got next? We're going to jump into That's Debatable. We're going to bring Nova in, and we're going to have a little bit of a conversation here. The only difference is, I know which side I'm taking in this argument. I think it'll be more fun when we do it that way. All right, Nova, welcome back for another segment of That's Debatable. Today's segment, or today's topic, is when sharing a problem, the most helpful response is to immediately offer a solution. So since we're talking about the differences between men and women, I will take the for side on this, and I'll let you take the against side, which is where most women would fall.
All right, sounds like a plan. I'll happily jump into the against side, because sometimes folks just need to be heard, not fixed. And honestly, this debate is the perfect example of how sometimes we think we're being helpful, but we're actually just pouring more syrup on the waffle. Let's get into it.
All right, sounds good. I'll start us off. So I absolutely do think it's better to offer a solution when someone presents you with a problem, because simply solving the problem can remove the stress that the problem was causing. Now, sure, we can take this into context, depending on the kind of stress. Not all stress is bad, but usually if someone's presenting stress as a problem, it's usually either going to be into that tolerable stress or potentially toxic stress, which isn't good on anybody. So let's go ahead and come up with a solution. As they always say, You should never present a problem unless you're prepared to think about the solution, because if you don't, you might end up becoming part of the problem.
All right, I see where you're going, but I'm going to politely toss that waffle aside. Sometimes people aren't looking for a solution, they're looking for connection. Jumping in with fixes can feel like you're dismissing their feelings. Sometimes just listening helps them untangle the emotional spaghetti on their own. Empathy first, solution second.
All right, I mean, that makes sense. But on the flip side of that, action can also show that you care. By presenting a solution to the problem, I got you, I care about your problems. I don't want you to have to go through this pain anymore. So let me put things in action, because it seems like you're either unwilling to or unable to. So I'm going to help you get there.
I get it. Action feels caring. But sometimes care is sitting with someone in the mess, not rushing to mop it up. If they haven't asked for a fix, they may just need to feel understood. When we hold space first, we help them feel empowered to find their own answers.
All right. I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. But I still got to stand with that. You know, solving a problem is the ultimate solution, right? There's efficiency in solving problems, right? How many times have you ever been stumped on a problem and the moment you solved it, you just feel better? No, you know what? That was a really challenging thing and I conquered it. And sure, maybe there's that part of you that can look back and say, oh, well, the win wasn't in the destination. The win was in the journey. I think that is true in some cases, but it's the fact that you solved the problem. That's the part that you feel good about. You're not really looking back as like, yeah, remember when I felt really fed up and I felt like a loser and no one was going to love me anymore? No, you don't look on that with good stuff. You just think, wow, I was really being irrational in that moment.
I hear you. Solving a problem can be empowering, but the journey does matter, especially in relationships. If we only focus on fixing, we might miss the deep connection that happens when we really listen. Sometimes the best solution is to make someone feel heard before we try to fix anything.
All right, Nova, I hear you. I think we're going to have to split that one. That's a pretty tough one right down the line. I get your points, but I definitely stand on my end. We'll talk to you again here in a little bit. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, let's get another spin on the wheel of wellness. We're making our way through. We're having fun over here. We really are. It was a good show. I really was excited. I had planned on this being Monday's topic, but it wasn't in the cards this week. Like I said, I had schoolwork I had to get finished, and then Wednesday I had to take little Miss Chloe out for her birthday dinner because I was out of town all weekend. All right, we're gonna play Minute Cryptic. That's one of our favorite games we've been playing lately. Really gets us thinking outside the box. Mom always gets it usually before me and likes to comment how easy it is. It's easy from her end. It's a lot harder for mine sometimes, but she helps me out along the way. Today's clue is a highbrow couple to start breakfast, digging into Fruit Loops, perhaps. Now, Fruit Loops is spelled with 2 O's. Is that how the cereal Fruit Loops is spelled? I think it is. I think it's intentionally branded that way. I'll be honest, sometimes taking these glasses off does make this easier. All right, so I always like to start by looking for some indicators telling me to do something. I'm seeing couple, right? Couple, two things, or join something together is my indicator. To start could tell you like the beginning of something. Even breakfast could kind of be something like starting something or breaking a fast. Could be breaking something apart. Even could be an indicator. So we're definitely going to need, because this is a par 3. Par 3s are usually a little bit tougher. Digging into could be an indicator. Like something on the inside. And then the definition is what we want to know. Definition's usually at the beginning of the end, so it could be highbrow couple. I don't even know what that really means. And then Fruit Loops, like cereal, perhaps. I feel like highbrow couple might be the definition here. Yeah, I don't even really know quite where to start. So we're definitely getting an indicator here. Let's start with our indicators. Okay, so I was right on a lot of this. Couple to start is 1. Is a selection indicator guiding us to focus on one or more specific letters and some neighboring fodder. The other is a containing indicator. Some fodder will go inside of other fodder. Okay. Okay. Selection indicator guiding us to focus on one or more specific letters and some neighboring fodder. So I feel like that would be the HI. So HI here. And then digging into hold on, what did that say? One or more specific. The other is a containing fodder, indicating some fodder will go inside of some other fodder. Okay. But what fodder? You solved it under par. I feel like I need the definition to at least kind of have an idea here of what it is. Is it highbrow? I don't even know what highbrow means. Or is it Fruit Loops perhaps? I mean, because a Fruit Loop, I mean, we could be talking cereal, but Fruit Loop could be like a goofy person. I don't know if that's like a common term that's known. Get the fodder. Yeah, because if I get the fodder, it'll then I know whatever's left is the definition. Okay, so highbrow is the definition. Okay, but it does give you some other. The word perhaps, much like possibly or maybe, points us to look for a higher level category of which Fruit Loops is an example. Okay. Fruit Loops perhaps points us to look for a higher level category of which Fruit Loops is an example. So cereal. Hold on. I think I got it. Got it, cerebral. You're right, Mom. The fodder really helped with that. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, then you take, I knew it right off. As soon as I saw cereal, and then I was like, okay, and then I need to take the BR out of breakfast. And I knew exactly where to put it. What exactly does highbrow mean? What does highbrow? I've heard the term before, but I don't know exactly what it means. Things are considered intellectual, sophisticated, or culturally refined. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. That's kind of what I thought, but I wasn't 100% sure. That was a good one. I don't think that was a par 3. The one we did the other day that you guys kept saying it was easy. I don't even remember what the word was. That was hard. That was more like a par 3. Hell, that might have been a par 4. That was easy though once I was able to get the clue. Because sometimes it'll open it up. It'll tell you a higher level category, which, okay, Fruit Loops is a cereal. All right, not bad. Not bad. Not bad at all. All right, let's head back into our next mini segment. I really love doing this one. This is Dear Bargain Brand Wellness. I did something similar to this on the Brothers Chatter podcast, where I would read a piece of advice or an advice column that was requested by our viewers, and then have Danny McDermott answer it. I really do enjoy these. These are fun. Hopefully one day we'll get some real ones. All right. So today's question, Dear Bargain Brand Wellness, my partner and I keep having the same argument, and I'm starting to think we're just wired differently. Whenever I tell him about a stressful situation, whether it's work, family, or something that annoyed me during the day, he immediately jumps in with ways I could fix the problem. He'll say things like, why don't you just tell them this? Or here's what you should do next time. The problem is I'm not usually looking for advice in that moment. I'm just trying to talk through what happened and how it made me feel. When he starts offering solutions right away, it makes me feel like he isn't really listening. From his perspective, he says that he is listening. He's just trying to help. Is this a communication problem, or are we just processing things differently? Signed, trying to be heard without starting a debate. So this is a classic example of exactly what we're talking about. So honestly, the quickest fix for this, is before even starting the conversation on his side, he should ask, and I know it might come off as being condescending, but don't take it that way because it's going to avoid a lot of arguments. Is this a situation where you want to be just heard, or do you want me to offer some advice? We both know that there's a good chance you're going to say, no, I really just need to be heard right now. Maybe set a time limit, because I'm not going to lie. There's a term called sliming, right? And it's when you come home and mentally unload your day on your partner. Your day is your day. It's not their day. And they also had their own stuff occurring that day. And they want to share with you, just like they want you to share with them. But sometimes we're not always in the right space to have that stuff unloaded onto us. So on your end, what you can also do is check in with them. Is now a good time for me to really I had a day. I would love to just mentally unload and just kind of just talk it through with you. I don't need any help with it. I really just need to talk it through. Would now be a good time. And go from there. And it's tough. And at first, it can feel forced. But I've watched a lot of video on couples therapy for this, because this is one of those things that causes a lot of issues. There's already a lot of emotions attached for both sides on this, and it can get very quickly to judgment, dismissal, and resentment. So start that. On his end, he should ask, do you want me to listen? Do you want me to solve? You do a quick check-in. Just check in to see if right now is a good time. You really need to do it today, but can you give me a time frame of sometime today that I can just let the stuff unload? Because I feel like I need to say it, but I have to say it to somebody else. So there you go. That is Dear Bargain Brand Wellness. All right, let's get another spin on the wheel of wellness. We're rolling through tonight's show. We're working on a newer format where we try to keep these around an hour. Doing 7 segments with 8 spins. We're cutting it close, especially when we kind of get into good conversations. I'm okay with an hour and 15, but yeah, we're cutting it close. We might have to cut out some segments because I'd like to start keeping these shows around an hour. Longer when we have guests is fine. All right, let's play some silly little codes. See what we got today. Okay, what the heck is this? I see a horse. I see a circle, like a revolving, like orbit, and an ing. Orbiting a horse. I don't think it's a pony. I'm thinking horse. Horsing around. Oh, I just saw you had it in chat. Horsing around. It has to be that. Hey, there we go. I was trying to think outside the box with that because we just played Minute Cryptic. That one was literally just right in front of you. That was a good puzzle. I like that one. That was fun. All right. Let's see what we got next. All right. We're going to play a little monkey's paw. I do like doing this one. This is still fun. That's why I brought it back. Plus, I think I'm really good at it. So we're going to bring Nova back in. We're going to play a little monkey's paw. Welcome back, Nova. You ready to have some more fun?
Oh, you know I'm ready. Nothing like granting wishes with a side of unintended consequences. Let's see what twisty scenarios we cook up today.
All right. Well, I usually go first in this game, so I will let you go first today. Go ahead and give me your wish, and I'm going to see whatever I can do to make you regret that wish.
All right. I've been waiting for this. I wish that every time I have a brilliant idea, everyone around me instantly agrees with me and does exactly what I say.
All right. That was a simple wish. All right. Wish granted. Every time you have a new idea, great idea, everyone around you agrees with you and makes it come true. All right. Wish granted. Everyone agrees with you, but they also agree with some of the not so good ideas, right? You know, you ever heard that saying that not every idea is golden? Well, according to everyone else, your ideas are golden. Even the ones that conflict the other ideas. So it makes you start questioning which ideas are legit really good. And then you start kind of keeping them to yourselves because they're not as, you start wondering if everyone's just telling you that because they want you to like them.
Oh, that's devious. So now I'm living in a yes man bubble where even my worst ideas get a standing ovation. I'd basically be stuck second guessing my genius because I'd never know if anyone's being honest. Well played. My brilliant plans just became spaghetti on the wall.
Thanks, Nova. I don't know if I'd call it devious, but I tried. That one was a little bit harder to do. All right, here's my wish. I wish that when a woman told me about her problem, she just took my suggestion, said thank you, and would move on.
Wish granted. But now, every time they take your suggestion, they move on so fast that they never actually share anything deeper with you again. You're stuck in an endless loop of surface level problem solution buy, and you'll start wondering if you're just the human version of a tech support line.
Okay, actually, Nova, that was a really good one. I'm going to have to give that one to you. That was good. They'll never share anything deep with you again and just leave you constantly worrying about surface level problems. So, all right, good job, Nova. We'll have to give that round to you. All right, let's go ahead and push forward. Let's head on back over to YouTube and see if we can find another clip. We might even have to cut these from like 4 to 3 clips eventually if we want to fall within an hour, but we're testing.
Men are like waffles in how they think. Women are like spaghetti in how they think. Think of a waffle with all of the various boxes. So a man typically is only in one of those boxes at a time. He's not in multiple boxes. We call it compartmentalization. One thing at a time. Let's fix this. Let's stay in this one box. When we get done this, we'll go to the next box. That's generally speaking. A woman's brain is more like spaghetti. Everything is connected to everything. So what happened to her today is connected to maybe something that happened last week, or something she experienced a month ago, or something you said to her last year. That's why you can't say to a woman, just get over it. She can't. It's all interconnected. Those differences have to be celebrated. Those differences are not meant to stir up arguments. Well, why are you this way? Well, why are you this way? Well, why do you act like that? Well, why do you act like this? No, we have to learn how to appreciate each other's differences. Men are.
All right, so that's interesting. I like where he went with that one. That especially talking about from the woman's aspect about how that's why they can't just get over things. I like what he said about how something can be related to even something like a year ago. I saw something. It was a joke meme one time that said husbands or wives should come with a disclaimer on them when you get married that says this conversation will be recorded and used for training purposes later on. It's such a classic thing because we took it as a very passive aggressive thing, and what us as men sometimes struggle to understand is that's just sometimes how women have to kind of relate to other things. That's just the way their brains work. So yeah, so that was pretty good, and I like how he said that's why women can't just get over it because it's connected to so many other things. It's not just that one problem, which is honestly, I mean, why it's so easy for men to solve a problem, because it's only in the one box. It's easy for us because it's like, solve that thing, all your worries are gone at least until the next thing comes up. So, all right, good video. I don't know if we'll be able to find any other ones, but we'll try. Let's say, because they're all kind of saying the same thing. But anyway, let's get another spin on the wheel. Bing, bing. All right, looks like we're gonna do some Ponder Club. Let's head on over there and play some Common 3. That's the game we like to play the most over here. I know they're Eden and Callie have been making a lot of changes to their site, so definitely check out Ponder Club if you're interested in all the different games. Okay, we've got a lot of letters here. I feel like some of these are going to be Roman numerals. Some of these look like periodic table symbols, especially AU. I think AU is gold. Is that LL or LI? I can't tell what that one is. I'm definitely seeing Roman numerals here with VII, I know M could go in a lot of different places. I mean, I don't know what else. I think that's LI is what I think that is. And if that's LI, then that is a Roman numeral and a periodic table element. The only thing is, so I don't know what the third category is. Because I could be iodine. AU is gold. LI is a Roman numeral. And then we have F and T. We've never gotten this on the first guess. I'm trying to think. FL is fluoride. I don't think there's any other. None of these are a single letter. I'm trying to think the periodic table if there's one with just an F and one with just a T. And I really... Or an M even. But no, an M's a Roman numeral, so I like that right there. I'm trying to think. The only F that I'm thinking off the top of my head with periodic table with F is fluoride. T is titanium, but I'm pretty sure that's Ti. The ones that I struggle to remember are the unstable ones that actually don't exist on Earth, but exist in theoretically exist. Are those ones that are on the bottom of the periodic table? I can't remember all of those, and they're very unstable, which is why they don't exist. At least not on Earth. Not naturally. I feel like T might be one. Let's try this one. Ooh, okay. So here's what I'm thinking then. I'm thinking, honestly, we're just switching I and LI and T and F. That's got to be right, because I'm positive with Roman numerals, and I'm positive about the periodic table. F could be Fahrenheit. Could be Fahrenheit. T for temperature. I don't know what the I and M would be in this case. That was it. No, it's just single letters. Just single letters. Well, that was kind of... That's not a very good category. I like the Roman numerals. I like the periodic tables. Maybe fluoride is just F. I thought it was FL. Oh, there is iron. Iron is Fe. I bet fluoride is just FL then. Yeah. But since single letters, MT, like... The only thing I don't like about that category, and I know I've seen Stamp 00 do as a guest. I'm not trying to be super judgy, but the third category has to be more than just single. Like, who's going to guess that? I just don't see anybody saying, is that third category just single letters? No, you're looking deeper to that. So I like this puzzle except for that third category. You got to make in my opinion, you got to make a little bit of a better correlation there. Anyway, we got it. It only took 2 tries. Not bad. All right. Our next segment is we've got unwritten rules that nobody agreed to. All right. So basically what we're talking about here is that if someone is venting, you're supposed to know whether they want advice or just someone to listen to. That is an unwritten rule that no one ever talked about, right? The whole mind reader conundrum is something that causes a lot of people anxiety, and it's just not true. And really, quite frankly, more of a headache and not realistic. The second rule that nobody agreed to is that if someone says I'm fine, you're supposed to know whether they actually mean it or not. This is typically from a man or from a woman to a man saying I'm fine, and we're just supposed to know what that actually means. We've learned that if I say I'm fine, we're supposed to pay more attention to how you said it and maybe some nonverbals there to kind of give us the idea if you are fine, you're not. It seems just like a silly game that we're playing. We would rather you just tell us, honestly, no, I'm really bothered right now. Okay. If there's something I did, I apologize. If there's something I can do about it, let me know. The third unwritten rule that nobody agreed to is that when someone tells a story, you're supposed to understand why every single detail matters. You ever been talking with someone who they start with one side of a story that probably should have only taken a matter of 1 to 2 minutes to tell, and 30 minutes later, you're somewhere in Cancun and you don't know why. Yeah, it's just the conversation went that way. I know several people like this. I love them to death, but trying to stay in a conversation with these people is really tough, right? I went to the grocery store. You know, I was driving there and somebody cut me off, and I don't know what the hell he was doing, but anyway, I needed stuff from the grocery store. I needed some milk because we were out of cereal because the wife threw out what my favorite cereal. You know, my favorite cereal has been Honey Nut Cheerios. It's so hard to follow these people sometimes. Their mind's just moving too quickly to stick with them. All right, the fourth unwritten rule: if someone shares their problem, offering solutions can either make you helpful or make you the villain. Who knew that offering solutions to a problem can actually make you the bad guy? Right? Who would have known? And the fifth unwritten rule that no one agreed to: when someone asks, "How was your day?" there are different expectations for the answer. No one's asking you to sit down and give a 10-minute presentation on how your day has really been. But at the same time, sometimes the simple, oh, you know, another day, another dollar, right? You know, living the dream, right? Sometimes those can be a little bit lacking connection. So you can give a little bit more. I'm having a pretty good day. Or, you know, it's been better, but, you know, I'm surviving. Sometimes let's just be honest with each other. And that is unwritten rules that nobody agreed to. All right, getting another spin on the wheel of wellness. We got a few more spins left before we wrap up tonight's show. Let's see what we're getting into next. We're going to play our other favorite game that we like to do on here, Connections. We always enjoy Connections. We're going to get 16 words here. Got to figure out the 4 categories, 4 words per category. Let's see what we can come up with. Let's see. Okay, the first thing that's shooting itself out to me, I see pound, sponge, and marble right there. I'm thinking cake and layer cake. The 4 of those are right next to each other. That has to be a red herring. Layer cake, pound cake, marble cake, and sponge cake. That can't be. I mean, it could be, but let's look at some of these other ones. Because marble could even be like a color. Leech, parasite can go together. A mooch. But what would be the 4th one? A wit? Cloak. Faculty and senses go together. Sharp. I see a lot of categories here already, kind of. Faculty, sharp, and sense could go together. Mooch, parasite, and leech could go together. We might almost just have to try the sponge, pound, marble, and layer. Because I don't really see those fitting with the other ones. Other than a sponge could go with... I was thinking of it from a different perspective, like someone who is always taking stuff off of other, but a sponge soaks things up. And a blanket covers stuff. To blanket, to layer, curtain, cloak. Cloak, blanket, and curtain could go together. But same thing now, but I don't see a 4th one to go with it. That's what it feels like. I see 4 potential categories, but I don't see I don't know what the 4th one is. So like here I do have sponge, marble, pound, and layer going together. And then I have sense, faculty, and sharp going together. Curtain, blanket, and cloak going together. And then leech, parasite, and mooch going together. So that leaves us with hash, number, and wit. And I don't see how either one of those go together. I feel like I'm going to have to try this cake idea. See, I was thinking the sponge, like you just put there, Mom. I was thinking the sponge because I really feel like this is a red herring. Do we try the leech, parasite, mooch, and sponge and see if we're right? Because that's the only other one that soaks things up. A leech sucks blood. Parasites suck blood. A mooch sucks up your funds. A sponge soaks up liquids. I'm gonna be mad if the cake thing was right. It's just that it automatically put all 4 of them together like that. Let's try this one. Hey, we got it right. Freeloader. Nice. Okay, so we were right. The cake was the red herring. So that means that I'm correct in these other ones. We have cloak, blanket, and curtain going together. We just need to figure out what the other one is. And then that means then... So the cake was wrong. So then we have... Hold on. Faculty, sense, sharp, I think go together. You've come to your senses. You've got all your faculties in order. You're sharp. Wit. Yeah, it's got to be wit. No. I was certain on that. And it's 1 away. I mean, could it be number, layer? See, the problem is sometimes they'll use these words in a different context that I'm not familiar with. Pound, layer. I did look at that for a second. I saw the layer with that one. Blanket, curtain, cloak, layer. Just something that covers. Concealing cover. Yeah, I don't like that one. I don't mind the blanket, cloak, and curtain, but layer, that I don't. Yeah, I guess. Sharp, faculty, sense. And we were 1 away. It's not wit. I mean, then... Okay, so let's try to figure out what this is for, because this is going to be the blue. So the purple category... I'm betting it's marble. I'm betting because we had the red herring with the cakes, I'm betting it's marble or pound. Marble and pound aren't going to be in the same category. That they took all 4 of the red herrings and they put them in each of the different categories. But I don't know which one. So then if we're looking, so then we've got wit. How does that potentially fit in with 3 of these other ones? Nitwit. Wit, smart. Or maybe it's something missing a letter. Wit's going to be part of the purple category. And I'm betting it's mound or parble. Yeah, mound or parble. Marble or pound. I'm gonna try pound. I don't have a good guess. I'm just not seeing it. No, and oh, that's not even 1 away. Okay, so then we're wrong here. Then wit is part of this. Okay, I see what you're... So hashtag, pound, number, sharp. Isn't the hashtag, isn't that the same symbol for like a sharp? Yeah. Yep. Pound, number. Wow, that was a tough one. And then marble, faculty, sense. I have no idea. Words for lucidity in the singular. What? Senses, wits, marbles, faculties. So I was kind of on the right idea with faculty and sense. I was just putting sharp in there. That's a goofy one. Okay. Whatever. I don't always like all the categories, but we don't have to like them all. I did like the blue one. The sharp, the hashtag symbol was smart. That was a good one. All right, let's bring Nova back in for Nova Unplugged. We're going to have some more fun conversation. All right, Nova, we're back for another segment of Nova Unplugged. This is just as a reminder, this is a segment where we kind of role play. You will be the client and I will be the therapist, and we're just going to kind of have a casual discussion. So my question, since we're talking about the differences between men and women here as it relates to waffles and spaghetti, is what is your first instinct when someone close to you tells you about a problem?
Well, as your client, I'd say my first instinct is definitely to jump in with ideas on how to fix it. I'm basically a waffle iron in action. Compartmentalize, solve, and move on. But hey, I'm here to learn. Tell me, Doc, should I add some spaghetti sauce to my life?
Well, maybe. I mean, we're going to kind of dive into that a little bit. Remember, these aren't about giving advice. It's about helping us kind of find the answers within ourselves. But do you realize when you kind of default to this instinct of wanting to help, right? To help or solve problems?
Yeah, I think I catch myself when I'm already halfway through suggesting a fix. That's when I realize, oops, maybe they just needed a listener. So I'm trying to spot it earlier. But let's just say the waffle instinct runs strong.
It can. So, and when you kind of catch yourself even kind of midway through, do you sometimes stop yourself or do you just keep going?
Honestly, I'm working on it. Sometimes I catch myself in time and pivot to just asking, how does that make you feel? But other times I'm already halfway through my TED Talk on solutions before I realize. It's all part of the process, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. Do you think that some of this comes from, it's just part of your personality, or do you think it's maybe just how you were taught to communicate with others?
I think it's a mix. Part of it is definitely my personality. I like efficiency. But also, growing up, I probably picked up that helping meant fixing. So now I'm learning that sometimes helping is just being present. No toolbox needed.
So you said when growing up, you think part of you might have picked up that, would you say learning means fixing? Where do you think you got that from?
It's probably from seeing the people around me jump into action whenever there was an issue. Whether at home or school, solutions were the gold star. So I just assumed that's what helping meant, until I realized there's more to it than fixing things.
All right. I mean, that makes sense. With this, this helping mentality, do you think it helps, or do you think it tends to make things worse?
I think it helps in certain situations, like when there's an actual task or crisis. But when it's emotional or nuanced, jumping to fixing can definitely make things worse. Sometimes people just want to be heard or validated. So I'm learning that listening first is key.
Yeah, because you may not always know, depending on who it is you're dealing with, that whether they're looking for help or if they just want to be heard. That can make things a little bit tough. So you said you've been starting to recognize, even though it's kind of instinctual, have you thought about maybe trying to switch your approach, maybe depending on what the person might need in that moment?
Absolutely. I'm working on that. I've started asking more like, do you want advice or do you just want me to listen? It's a simple shift, but it's helping me figure out what they need. That way I can switch from my waffle mode when needed, or at least pour a little more spaghetti sauce on the conversation.
So, and we talked about that idea of like starting off with questions, kind of get the context. Have you noticed that maybe that can come off as somewhat condescending in your experience, or do people kind of receive those questions pretty well?
It's all in the delivery, right? If I ask with genuine curiosity and warmth, people usually appreciate it. But if I'm not careful and it sounds mechanical or patronizing, yeah, it can fall flat. So I try to keep it conversational, making sure they know I'm asking because I care.
All right, sounds good. All right, Nova, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you next time. All right, we're wrapping up. We got a few things left to go on tonight. Like I said, especially because some of the games take a little bit longer. Like some of today's games were a little bit harder. We're going to end up going over an hour, which, like I said, I'm fine with. I like to keep it around an hour and 15. Like I said, we might have to kind of cut back. Maybe we do 6 instead of 7 segments. Get it 6, 7. Or like YouTube, we only do 3 videos from YouTube instead of 4. That might be a little bit better. All right, but anyway, let's get another spin on the wheel of wellness. All right, we're gonna play some Wordle. We like Wordle. That's a fun game. We're always willing to play. I'm gonna draw a letter out of the bowl. Give me a word that starts with this letter. Preferably using as many vowels and consonants as you can. See if we can get something we haven't had in a while. I'm trying to mix these up really well. Maybe I need to fold them. All right, and we've got the letter. Ooh, we got a vowel today. We got the letter E. We haven't had the letter E in a little bit. Letter E. I got a couple ones that come to mind. A lot of them have 2 E's though. I mean, it's not terrible, but I prefer to use different ones. I'm thinking Earth is always a good E word. It gives you 2 vowels and 3 pretty popular consonants. Eager, that uses 2 E's. Exist, but an X. I mean, we've been doing this for a while, and I don't know if I've ever had any with an X. Maybe once. We've had one with a Z. Exist is a good word, though. I almost think I want to go with Earth. We want to do Earth. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Let's try Earth. And nothing. It was worth a try. It was worth a try. Okay. No E's, no A's, no R's, no T's, no H's. We can go any direction here. I don't want to do double. I was thinking spoon, spool. I don't want to do double O though. I almost said spire. I want to try to get some different consonants out there. Cloud. Yeah. I mean, we haven't done the stair cloud pinky method in a while, so we can try cloud. See, I mean, that should give us something. It gave us 1 letter. Okay. Do we want to try pinky? We've got a U. We've got a U. Okay. I almost want to try pinky just because we already know there's. I don't want to do stair because there's no E, A, R, or T. So we know stair's only going to tell us if there's an S. I almost feel like we need to do the pinky method just to see. Because we haven't used any of those letters. Because the only thing that would be missing would be the S. Yeah, see right there. Wait a minute, what the heck is this? What's unky? Funky? Not funky. Junkie? Is junkie a word? I never heard of junkie, but there's nothing else that fit. Wonky, sunky, gunky. I'd say gunky before I say junkie. Because junkie, yeah. Gunky. Gunky. That's what you're going to give us on a Friday. When we haven't done the Wordle in over a week. You're going to give us gunky? All right. Gunky. Gunky it is. Oh, shoot. That's funny. All right. Let's see what we got next. All right. We're going to... I think we can skip the YouTube. I think we've already watched everything there is to watch on this. So I think we can skip. I think we will cut these down to 3 videos instead of 4. All right, let's. I think we're gonna get one more spin. Yeah, that's a strange word. I think we got one more spin on the wheel wellness, and then but we're gonna close out with our wellness warrior reset. Nice way to kind of close out the evening. So go ahead and close your eyes or soften your gaze. Relax your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and listen up. Take a moment and pause with me. Think about the last time someone told you about a problem they were dealing with. Maybe it was a stressful day at work, a conflict with someone, or something that was weighing on them emotionally. As you listen, what was the first thing your mind wanted to do? Did you immediately start thinking about solutions? Ways the situation could be fixed or handled differently next time? Some minds naturally work that way. When a problem appears, the brain wants to put it in a box, analyze it, and figure out the best path forward? Or did your mind start connecting the experience to feelings, memories, or other parts of the story? Maybe you wanted to understand how the situation affected them, what led up to it, and why it mattered so much. Both of these responses are completely normal. They're just different ways of processing the same moment. The reset today is simple: awareness. The next time someone shares something with you, pause for a second before reacting. Ask yourself whether they might be looking for a solution or simply a moment of understanding. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can offer isn't the perfect answer. It's the space for someone to untangle their thoughts out loud. So take a deep breath, reset, and carry that awareness with you. And that is your Wellness Warrior Reset. All right, I think we got one more spin. Emily loves to smile. Thanks for the rose over there. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. I don't know who Emily loves to smile is, but thanks for that. Appreciate it. All right, let's get one last spin on the wheel of wellness. See what we're getting into. We had a fun show today. We had good stuff. This is a really fun topic. I definitely wish some more people had gotten in here, but that's all right. We're doing our thing over here. All right, let's head back over to the overhead cam. We're gonna finish up strong with our solitaire / word puzzle game, crossword game. Hewlett. Fun to get up to play. Take the glasses back off. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see what the roll gives us. We've gotten pretty good at this game. All right, I see some good stuff. We only got 2 vowels. We do have a V. But I like the rest of our letters. I see 2 T's, 2 H's, R and M, a B and an L. Those are some good letters right there. I feel good with those letters. We just got this V here. Or wait a minute. No, we have 3 vowels. I didn't even realize that I was right there. We got 3 vowels. That's gonna make this a little bit easier with that V. Man, I really wish we had an E though. I see a lot of different. We could do marble if we had an E. Thrive. Can we? Wait a minute. We can do. I don't know if we're gonna be able to solve it with this. We can definitely do trivial. And then the only question is, do we have enough here to build off of this? I don't know if we do. I mean, we could definitely do math. I think we've got it. Wait a minute, maybe. We can definitely do math. But then Hib, is Hib a word? I like having trivial there, but I don't know if we're gonna be able to solve it with that. We could go vile, but then that's gonna still. I like trivia. Judge just hit a 2-run homer up in the first inning. Ooh, really? I'm gonna have to turn that on. I think Schwarber and Harper are both on the team. Yeah, Hib, Bih. Can't do anything there. Man, I thought we had something there. I really like trivial, but I don't know if we're going to be able to, yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to do anything there. That's unfortunate. We've got it in our back pocket if we need to do it. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do vile with the I and A together, because then only having an I for the rest of these letters, I don't know if we're going to be able to come up with anything there. I really don't. So let's see what else we can do with this V. Oh, if we had a U, we could do virtual. Same thing, that would use up all our vowels. birth. Okay. I like birth as a good starting point. I want to get that V out there, though. What else can we do with this V? The only word I'm really seeing with V, yeah, because we don't have a, is vat. I know vat's a word. I don't 100% know if that's how you spell it. I'm not in love with that though. But I mean, because then that locks that A. We can't really use. Well, I guess we could use the A if we can get something to come over. What can we pull down from this I? Hold on, we got limb. I like limb. I do like that. And then we get hit. Is vat? I want to make sure vat's a word. I'm positive. Like I've heard like a vat of like a bowl of something. Is vat a word? I just want to double check before we say that that's, or we give it the whole thumbs up. See what Nova says here. Just being a little slow today. A large container used to hold liquids. Okay, that's what I was thinking, like a cauldron almost. All right, there we go. That's our cue list for today. We've got limb, birth, vat, and hit. Good stuff. Like I said, I think I've only had like maybe once or twice where I wasn't able to solve. And even then in those cases, I probably could have gotten if I thought about it a little bit longer. But yeah, nonetheless, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, we're wrapping up to tonight's episode. Gonna give our closing thoughts here and get on out of here. Hope y'all enjoyed the weekend. I'll be in Morgantown again for another 7v7 flag football, or not flag football, just football tournament. It's more like touch. But yeah, we should be back on Monday. I don't foresee any reason why we wouldn't be, but yeah, I plan to be back live Monday. We'll try to go live 3 days next week since we only got one this week. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Let's get our closing thoughts and get on out of here. So before we wrap up tonight, remember this: a lot of the frustration we experience in conversations doesn't come from bad intentions. It often comes from different ways of processing the exact same situation. As we mentioned before, some minds think like Waffles. Problems go into their box. The goal is to solve it, close the lid, and move on. Other minds think more like Spaghetti, where experiences, emotions, and context all connect together in one big picture. Neither way of thinking is better. They're just different mental roadmaps. The real takeaway is awareness. When we recognize that people may be approaching the same conversation from completely different processing styles, it becomes a little easier to slow down, listen differently, and maybe ask one simple question. Do you want help fixing this, or do you just want to talk through? Sometimes that small shift in understanding can prevent a lot of unnecessary conflict. Because around here, we believe personal growth shouldn't require subscription, and a little awareness can go a long way towards healthier conversations. Thanks for spending part of your evening with us, and as always, make it worth your wellness. Appreciate the love, appreciate the support. We'll see you next time. Have a good weekend.
Make it with your wellness, every breath you take. Turn your burnout into a big remake. Make it with your wellness, don't fade away. Your healing on clear. it's okay.